So life goes on. Today is the funeral. 4 hours from now. It's 5:36 in the morning. I've come out here to, put some training in. It always makes me feel better. I haven't been uploading my training in the last 7 days, mainly because this is difficult. It's difficult to talk. And the last video that I did was pretty much, half of it was me being silent because the emotions are still simmering. It's hard. And the first few days I didn't read any of the comments. I didn't read any of the social media. I just kind of didn't want to read, talk, think. Spent a lot of time with the family, obviously. This is why I don't want to make these videos anymore. But when I logged on and started reading the comments, it's a special feeling to know that so many people are invested in my journey. So many good people in the community. Just an absolute blessing. And the thought behind this video is I'm going through some tough stuff at the moment, lots of emotions, but I'm not alone. I'm pretty sure right now in the world there's a lot of people hurting, a lot of people dealing with loss. My grandma was 87, so I had her for a very long time. And I'm blessed for that. And obviously life doesn't go on forever. It just can't. 87 is a good, as the Aussies say it, it's a good innings. She lived a full life. And I certainly would be happy if I made it to 87. It doesn't change the fact that I love that lady, I've realized that the few videos that I've made are kind of like this, just a whole lot of depressed, heavy, type of videos. And I don't want to put out this type of content like it's just a whole bunch of misery. But I think it's important because there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of you guys out there who are experiencing hard times. It's not just me, And even though this is very difficult for me, to sit here in front of you, potentially 50,000 people, being emotional in front of the camera and all of that, as I've always said it, if one of you guys has some good out of this, then it's worth it. I thought about not making any videos until the funeral and then a few days after because, you can imagine that the funeral is going to be the hardest. And so I'm sitting here, trying to get ready for the session that I'm going to do today. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I thought to myself, I can kind of retreat to a corner and just deal with it privately like everyone does. And that's it, in 2-3 days, I'll feel a lot better, maybe. And I'll get back to the grind talking about, training, how I'm gonna get to 220 and all that stuff, the next kind of obstacle in my training. I thought about that, that's why wouldn't I do that? That's perfectly reasonable to do that. And then I thought there was an opportunity there for me to basically reach out to everybody out there, show my emotions, show how uncomfortable I am doing this. You know, I don't think it's easy for men to cry. You know, I'm supposedly about strength, you know, at a relative kind of body weight. That's kind of my thing. It's all about strength training, strength this, strength that. And then seeing a bloke who portrays that, sook about his grandma, you know, crying, you know, it's not very strong, is it? And sometimes I think to myself, like, why am I this emotional? Like, do I have a misunderstanding of what this is, what life is? You know, this is not the end. So why am I so emotional about it? You know, if this is not the end, it's just a temporary separation. I'll, you know, meet her after life and all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't change the fact that my life goes on, hers doesn't, and my life is going to go without her. You know, and what cuts me up a lot as well is that this lady hasn't lived a good life. You know, a whole lot of suffering. And what makes that feeling worse is that I'm so damn fortunate. You know, I open up the phone 3-4 days afterwards to have a look at, you know, what the channel is doing and see how the shorts are doing. And, you know, there's no talking, they're like 15-second videos. And I click on the comment section, it's just an outpouring of good people, you know, like. And then the very next thought is, you know, thinking about my grandma, how she lived, what sort of suffering she went through. And then I see how blessed I am and how many people are sending the energy, you know. So many of you guys have sent messages. And even though the content has been nothing, you know, I'm squatting 60 kilos for one 15-second video. Next day I'm doing 100, 140, 150. There's nothing to see there. There's absolutely no content. And yet you guys click on the video, support the video, leave a comment, leave a like. You don't have to do that, but you choose to do that. You know? In an attempt to make me feel better, right? And so I'm sitting here, getting ready for the workout. Today's the funeral. I'm thinking to myself, give back. You know, some of you guys have said, that you're dealing with your own troubles, and you still send a positive comment out, you know, making me feel better through a comment and all that. And even though I don't know you, I can't see you, you know, I can talk to you. I thought, these people are sending the positive energy out. Why don't I send some positivity out? And I think when you have a platform like this, it's almost like I don't know how to explain it. You know, a lot of people can't understand it, but there's almost like there's a degree of responsibility. And I don't know whether you guys can see that, but there really is. And so when you have a following like this, and the following is all positive, 99.9% of you guys are really positive. So when I know this in my psyche, okay, there's a lot of people out here, good people that are watching you. You can retreat to a corner and not say anything and deal with your grieving and all of that, go through all the process that grieving is, and it's a whole bunch of steps to it. It's all normal. I can do that privately, and that's all good, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's people out there, these good people out there who respect what I have to say, respect my position, respect who I am. And if I was to make a video like this, you know, where I talk about what it is and how it is. Some of you guys might find this useful, you know, and might not feel as alone in your grieving. A 32-year-old bloke supposedly into strength crying basically on camera. It's normal, man. It's okay to cry. I've seen bigger men than me cry. Emotion is not a sign of weakness. I've seen a lot of people cry in my time because of the work that I do, and I see these things. I work all the time. And, sometimes it gets a bit thick. Sometimes it gets a bit hard to kind of get through these situations. But these people aren't my people that are passing away and suffering. And so it's my turn to go to a funeral to my own person now. And so everyone goes through it. And I think it's important for me to make this video, even though it's really difficult for me and I really don't want to talk. I woke up this morning at 4:30, rolled around in bed for a little bit, read some of your comments, and thought to myself, man, it's always like this every time I make one of these videos. It cuts out. But I was rolling around in bed and I thought to myself, how many people wake up and turn on their phone and have so many messages, so many positive messages. So many of you guys are reaching out, leaving messages, and I kind of rolled around in bed and I pictured what sort of day I'm going to have, which is not very good at all. I'm thinking about grandma and whatnot, and I thought to myself, I'm going to just get up, put in some sort of workout, address the physical side of me. That's going to make it easier for me to get through the day, release some of that tension. And I came in here, I was going to just have a session, upload a 15-second video, and then call it quits and then go about my day. And then maybe tomorrow do a similar thing, and then wait for my emotions to kind of settle down a little bit, for me to kind of get ahead and then start making these videos. I was going to address some of these topics. And then it kind of occurred to me that there's a lot of people in the world right now suffering, going through some freaking tough times. And then I thought to myself, my grandma passed away at 87. That's kind of expected. And even though it's hurting me, there's people out there, man, who are dealing with some freaking bad cards. And so I thought to myself, okay. I kind of started telling myself, no, you won't make the video, because I started getting a bit, not nervous, but I started getting a bit emotional. I was going to turn the camera on, and so many people are going to see me, because it's really weird when you make these videos, man. Like right now, I'm alone in the garage. The whole family's sleeping. No one's up, no one's around. I'm making this video in privacy, but I know there's a camera here, and this camera is going to potentially make this visible to a lot of people, and so I'm kind of getting a bit uncomfortable. I sat down on the bench over there, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna do a couple of kind of hamstring curls to warm up. It's cold, and then it kind of started weighing on me. Okay, should I turn the camera on now? Should I make the video now? Oh, maybe it's not a good idea. It's gonna be just a whole bunch of crying. This is the thing with grieving, man. Like, when I'm with people, when I'm with like my mates, my family, I can laugh. We talk about things, we're silly, whatever, in the last few days. But it's moments where I'm alone that are the worst, and it comes in waves. I don't know if that's normal grieving, like I'm sitting there chilling, and then it just kind of washes over me. It's like a wave that hits me, and then I'm like feeling shit. And I think that's why it's important, like if you're going through some tough times, to have people around you, every day, kind of get with your family, mess around. Kids, man, kids are a blessing, man. My two little kids, when I see them, they're asleep now, but when I see them, it's just like little angels running around, man. Like, they're just pure happiness. Ultimately, automatically, just pure happiness. And so they're just joy. All they know is joy, you know. So full of love, full of joy. It's just a beautiful thing. It just makes you feel a little better. So be with people if you can. I'm sure there's people out there who don't have people to kind of lean onto and whatever, and that's a hard situation. If you have to grieve alone, that would be a very, very difficult thing to do. But I think a lot of these things are a matter of, you know, a lot of you guys have kind of messaged me and spoke about God and the Quran, Bible. I think a lot of these situations in life, like the deep questions, the heavy questions, you get comforted. You get comfort out of being religious, being like believing in God, understanding that this is not it, you know, understanding that this is just a journey. We're here to learn a bunch of lessons, and then we go on. And so when I think about those type of thoughts, I feel a lot stronger. I feel a lot better. And I said to a couple of you guys, you know, like, religion does that. It kind of makes you almost less emotional, because this is not it. You know, this is just a phase of our existence as a soul. And so when I think about that, I think about grandma. Okay, she's gonna get buried today, but this is not it. You know, her body's finished, but the soul moves on. And so when I think about that, I think about it's just a matter of time until, you know, I see grandma again, and, you know, I guess we have a chat again and we'll talk about some of the things. But I'm lucky, you know, my grandma came to Australia in 2001. We came to Australia in 1998. And so after the war, you know, that kind of finished in 95, we were kind of like not together. And then my family came in 1998. And then we kind of got them across in 2001. And so I've been very lucky, you know. I've basically been with my grandma very, very close since she was 67. You know, now she's 87. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have that. You know, my mom keeps telling me if the rest of the family didn't come over, you know, in 2001, I don't know if how long she would have lived. You know, medical care over there is not the same, and all that sort of stuff. You know. So very lucky to have grandma for this long. It doesn't make it easier to think about this stuff. Especially on the funeral day. But I decided to make this video because of the outreach that you guys have sent me. You know, so much positivity. I'm sitting there in bed this morning and last night and a few days now, just replying to all the comments, and I'm like, man, I'm just a blessed individual. You know, so many people are reaching out, sending their positivity, sending their love. And so it's almost like I owe it to you guys to make a video like this, even though it's a shocker and it feels crap. And one thing about me that I've kind of learned through this, you know, YouTube journey, and even before, is that, like, I'm not ashamed, I'm not shy, I'm not any of those things. That's fine. Like, you know, 50,000 people might see me cry because of this video, 10,000, whatever. For me, like, I don't think about that. I don't think about the possible ridicule or somebody saying, oh, you little, you know, girl, you're crying about a grandma that's 87. All of that stuff. Like, I couldn't care less about that. My concentration and my energy goes to the people that are going to find this useful. You're always going to find criticism. You're always going to find somebody that doesn't like you, who doesn't like your squad, who doesn't like who you are, doesn't like how you go about things, doesn't like your decisions. But you don't worry about that. You know who you are, and you know what you stand for. And so the few people, maybe even more than a few people, that genuinely appreciate this video and me speaking, you know, during this hard time, that's my focus. My focus is the positivity. And, you know, so there's been some comments in recent months that are really negative, and I've engaged in some of these comments and some of these people who have just a different perspective to me. And for me, it's like, I don't really want to go there. You know, if this person was here with me right now and we could talk about some of our differences, then it's worth my time. But on comments without a face to it, without anything to it, I don't know if I'm talking to a 5-year-old, a 90-year-old, a 20-year-old. I don't know anything about it. And a lot of people are kind of, you know, not themselves. And so I don't engage in negativity and bad criticism and all of that. I made this video today because of the people that have sent support to me. And I want to send support back to you guys. Some of you guys have said to me that you're dealing with your own troubles. And some of you guys don't get 1,000 comments going your way with positivity. And so that's the thought that I had in my chest when I turned the camera on for people like you maybe, who are going through a tough time. The human condition is weird. When you see somebody else going through a tough time, your tough time seems to be better. I spoke about, you know, in previously, you know, people who are struggling in life, and maybe don't have the upbringing that I have, or maybe they don't have the job that I have, and they don't have that kind of contrast. You know, I've said to people, like, just look at, you know, World War II history, World War I history, look at history in general, look at how people used to suffer and how much loss people have kind of endured. That's kind of how I kind of make myself feel better when I think about my life, and everything that I've kind of known and experienced. And then I contrast that to myself. And this has kind of been one of the things that I've kind of preached to you guys, is that, you know, how you feel is a lie. A lot of the circumstances, you know, oh, I'm feeling too tired, I just want to stay on the couch, get up, go moving. But even when those emotions are real and you warm up and you're like, man, I am really tired. Like, this is not just a mental fog. I genuinely feel really tired. Or like right now, I just feel sad, you know, and I feel sad in waves. I have a moment where I have clarity and I can speak and I can think, and then it just hits me and I just feel so sad. I don't know if it's like a chemical response in my brain, serotonin, no serotonin. Like, I don't know what grieving is and chemically, but it's like a wave that hits me and I feel sad. Just know that where you are, zoom out in history, zoom out in time, and just contrast your suffering towards with somebody else. So for me, like, I'm not a World War II historian, you know, I couldn't write a book or anything like that, but I do enjoy reading about, I enjoy, you know, documentaries, and I see how people used to live. And losing my grandma at 87, it's almost like a blessing. I had my grandma for 87 years. There's people out there in history who have had horrible, horrible times. Certainly my own family, you know, we've lost loved ones very early in their life. So I know what it is, and I know what this means. You know, my grandma has left us at 87. That doesn't mean that you're supposed to feel happy. I still feel sad. I still feel, you know, weak. I feel weak. My organism feels weak. I feel my appetite's gone. Everything's gone. This is why some of my training footage has been like a 60 kilo squat. You know, what is 60 kilos, man? Like, it's nothing, you know, compared to what I can usually do. It just goes to show you what your mind can do to your body, what your soul can do to your body, how heavy life can be. And, you know, the good thing about weightlifting and powerlifting and weight training is that the weight is so fixed. It's such a quantitative existence. The weight is always the same, but your approach and how heavy that bar feels on your back changes, because there's a lot of elements to us: the soul, spirit, you know, the body, the mind, all that sort of stuff. And so all of these things can impact us, and you know, it's just a state of mind. But you know, we have to move on, no matter how heavy things get. We have to move on. One thing that is a comforting thought for me is my kids. You know, when you have kids, it's a weird thing. You know, you're not an individual anymore. Like, you're an example for somebody. You know, the way my children look up to me. You know, it's unlike anything else, man. You know, they idolize you as parents. And you have to kind of be strong for them. You have to be a good example. You have to be, you have to think about what you do and how you do it. And so you know, I spoke about how happy I get when I see my kids and how their joy and their love. That's one side of it. The other side of it is being a role model towards my kids, being strong, So those are some of the kind of cascades of thinking that kind of makes me feel better, and I kind of get on with it. If you're out there and you're going through some tough times, hang in there. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. Life is basically a struggle. It's not a never-ending struggle. There's an end to this struggle. And you know all the cliche stuff that people say. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. All of that stuff applies. We just have to kind of understand that it's normal to struggle. It's normal. I think the way I train, the constant mental battle that I have with myself, I feel shit today, I don't want to train. I train. The constant willpower conversations is a reminder that it does not matter if you're in discomfort or comfort. You have to go. Life goes on. We have to go on. My loss is heavy, but there's more people out there, much, many more people out there who are suffering and who are dealing with loss, and they have to go on. This is how the human species has gotten to where it is. We have to move on, and even though it's hard, the weight on the shoulders feels very, very heavy. We have to keep moving, and that's the way it is. These experiences that we go through, they're experiences, they shape us. I'm always going to feel a little bit emptier now that grandma's gone, but I'm going to take that on and go on with me. These type of things change you. It changes the way you think, changes the way you value things around you, changes the way you make decisions. And I think this is all part of maturity. You know, it's just the way it is. So I'm gonna try and soldier on today and be strong. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be very hard, but we have to fight on. We have to move on. We have to get on with it. It is what it is. The fight never stops. I've said this before. You almost kind of wish that life had some sort of manual that you can read and be like, okay, this is not a fault. This is not a fault. This system is supposed to be doing this. You buy electronic equipment, and you something happens and you pick the thing up, you go to page 33, okay, this is normal functioning. With life, we go through so much schooling, no one ever talks about this stuff, man, how to deal with these type of things. We learn about algebra. We learn about algebra. Maths is important, I understand. But what's more important than learning how to deal with grieving? It wasn't until I got to nursing that I realized, how these things are supposed to be dealt with. The phases of grieving. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to not to want to do anything. That these are all kind of normal kind of responses. And when you know that they're normal responses, you don't feel guilty. This video is getting really long. I just wanted to say Thank you. You've made my load a little bit lighter. I know a lot of my comments are repeating myself because I don't know what the English language can, if there's many ways of saying this, but I truly appreciate it, man. I really do. And when I say cheers, I think about cheers. You know, I feel the energy, feel the support. And this is why I've made this video. It's for you guys, you know. So you guys can see that I genuinely appreciate this blessing. You guys. Catch you next one. Peace out.